Okay, that's it recording now. Uh, hey guys, we're Brandon and myself are just going to talk again about the weekend's games that have just passed. This is our third podcast we're doing this, which it's just a reflection piece more than anything else to reflect on how the games went the second weekend of the Six Nations. So I think we'll just go through them one at a time. Just start off with the Scotland game, I think. If that's all right with yourself, Brandon.
Yeah, that's start at the start.
Aye. I did a video on this already. My reaction to what happened. Three very soft tries, I think, we gave to Ireland. Scored a pretty good one ourselves, and too many basic errors that cost us, as well as a referee that just didn't have a good game at all and seemed to favour Ireland in a lot of the bigger decisions, let's say. Anyway, what do you think of the match, Brandon?
Well, yeah, going into the match, I generally thought you had a good chance. And to be honest, throughout the game, Ireland weren't actually that good. I didn't feel like they played that well at all. The first try, well, it's a schoolboy error from Seymour. As you said in your reaction video, even if you take it into contact, and you can see penalty for not releasing the ball, at least then you're not giving them an easy try. And Maitland and Seymour just don't communicate well enough. The pass from Seymour is too much, and obviously Conor Murray gets in. Scotland, lots of great build-up play, but then basic things like ball handling, forward passes, discipline at the breakdown. And as you said, the ref had a pretty bad game. Lots of decisions were 50-50 decisions, or should have been on Scotland's side, but went to the Irish a lot of the time. But, you can't blame it all on the ref.
No.
But it was a missed opportunity for Scotland yesterday.
Yeah, I think the most annoying thing was definitely that Peter O'Mahony clearly put his shoulder out and took out Stuart Hogg as he did early on, which in the end led to Ireland's first try. And I was really annoyed that wasn't picked up at all. That the TMO didn't go, or the TMO didn't step in either, and it eventually resulted in Hogg going off injured. And obviously Peter O'Mahony got off with it, and he was. He ended up being man of the match, which I am dubious about. Maybe it's just a personal dislike for him after he did that, and one or two other things he did in the game as well. But just that was the biggest thing, the biggest gripe I had. Apparently, though, with the first try, just go back to that. Apparently, Maitland called it from Seymour to give the ball to him, but it looked very hasty the way Seymour just got the ball and just hastily passed it back, and it was a badly executed pass, which obviously Maitland couldn't catch, and then Conor Murray scored. So I think it was like they're both to blame for that one, but so it was just disappointing.
It is just basic communication between two which is needed. It's a good kick behind, but Seymour's got time to decide what to do. And the thing before that, Scotland had actually been on top. They'd started really well and dominated and looked like the stronger team. Hogg was having some nice runs. I was surprised. Ireland kicked a lot to Hogg in the first 10 minutes or so. But then, that happens, and momentum switches, everything changes. And all of a sudden, you're facing an Irish team who are decent at closing a game out when they've got the lead. But you did show glimpses of what you can do for sure. But the Stuart Hogg with O'Mahony, it's a clear obstruction. It's clearly that it should at least be a penalty, if not a yellow. I would have
should have
given
been
it a yellow
at least, because it was just cynical.
But for whatever reason, the ref has decided not to look at it. It's an injury. All of the season we've been talking about, refs making decisions on high tackles, on head injuries, on contact to the head and stuff like that. And this, once again, it's just one of those stupid things that the ref just hasn't picked up. And Stuart Hogg was having a really good game to start with and looking very dangerous. Kinghorn came on, had an impact, did okay. But he's not Stuart Hogg.
Well,
he's not Stuart Hogg.
No, but he didn't start too well. I think he forgot what position he actually was playing because it led up to Stockdale's try. It's like Because it's like, what the hell are you doing out on the left? It's like you were there last week. You're replacing the fullback, so get back to get back to playing fullback, mate. So I mean, I just think he just thought he was on the left wing. He just went, so he just decided to go over there. So I don't know what he was thinking with that one. Then obviously it went through. Stockdale just went through and scored the try. So, but yeah, that was the biggest disappointment for me. Definitely is just how easy Ireland's tries were. I thought we didn't make them work too hard for it, and they weren't at their best either. So that was the most frustrating thing. But they also had their gripes with us and with Poat as well, because there was a few Irish folk who thought that we were taking out Johnny Sexton late, and that's how he went off injured, even though we actually weren't taking him out extremely late because we were committed to the tackles when he had the ball, and it was just kind of subtly, then when he passed the ball we were still committed, so it wasn't actually a late tackle. So yeah, but that's one of those things with rugby. It happens. You target opposition players. It's right or it's not necessarily right, but it's it happens. So it's not gonna you're not gonna get rid of that. But as long as you're doing it within the law somewhat, I mean, I didn't see the big issue. But obviously, Sadie went off injured, but I didn't think we were doing anything particularly illegal there.
I thought that the tactical decision same for Sexton England did it worked really well. Sexton, if he can control a game, he has a massive impact on it. If he can do what he wants with the ball, then he controls the match. But Scotland were obviously targeting him. It worked a lot, except for the try for Stockdale where he released the pass just perfectly on time. The defence wasn't brilliant on that, but I didn't think there was anything particularly wrong with it. I thought it was a good tactic to have, and when Wales play Ireland, I would hope that the likes of Moriarty, Navidi will be targeting him. I hope they will, because I think it'll work.
Well, the thing is, the problem is though that the way he went off injured, which I thought was a bit I mean, I'm not saying I want any player to go off injured, but I did think we were within the laws with how we did it, even though some Irish folk wouldn't be happy with me saying that. But hey ho, check the law book. As long as you're committed to the tackle while the player has the ball, then it still counts. It's only late if you're committed after he's passed the ball. So there's no problem with that. I think going forward, Ireland obviously have Italy next, so I expect them to win that reasonably comfortably. I think they're still in second gear. They're still not, they weren't that great yesterday, to be honest with you. On yesterday, this has been recorded on Sunday, to be honest with you. But they were solid enough to get the win. But I think they'll step up in a level against Italy and expect them to beat them pretty comfortably. I think they also showed what a talented player that Joey Carberry is, even because he looked a good substitute for Sexton. I think for their the third try again was a mistake by us because it was a simple tackle by Dell and Harley, and they should have nailed him and just got through. But so I think Ireland should be okay against Italy, and they'll step up a bit. And I think going into the final game against Wales, they'll be. I think they'll be pretty much near their best going into that game. So that'll be an interesting game.
Great. That sounds fantastic. Thank you.
Just saying. But and for our sakes, we just need to focus on France and getting a team that can go to Paris and win. Because if we don't get at least 3 wins, I think this championship, then it's going to be a step backwards for us, because we've won 3 in the last 2 championships. We've won 3 games. We need to make sure we're at least at the same level or going forward. So that's my thoughts on that. Need to make sure we win in 2 weeks' time, and and at least two of the last 3 games. I'm not expecting us to win at Twickenham, but I think we can definitely win the next 2. So look forward to that.
I thought Ireland weren't at their best. Carberry came on. He's actually been playing really well for Munster in the Pro 14.
Yeah.
And he's he's like, for Wales, it's like Anscombe and bigger. He's more of an Anscombe style player, wants to run with the ball in hand a lot more. Those 2 guys who went for the tackle on him, you just got to nail him, you've got to take him out. He didn't start too well though, throwing the pass for Finn Russell to intercept.
True.
And the the awareness for Russell
Yeah.
when he was on the ground, pop it up. It was like, I think the commentator said it was like he was lying on a sofa and just popping it up to John.
Yeah.
And yeah, I thought that you guys were unlucky, but against France, we'll get to France in a bit. But if I was you, I'd be going fairly confident. But you never know about France in Paris, because they can turn up in Paris.
Well, the thing is, because
if it was at Murrayfield, I'd back you 100%.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We haven't won in Paris for 20 years, so that's saying something. So we're due one, but I'm not expecting it to be an easy game at all, and I do expect France to be better than what they were against England. But we'll move on to that in a bit. I think that covers that mostly. We can go on to Italy-Wales now. 10 changes, I think, proved a bit too much of a... I don't know what's the word. A bit too many changes to make. So...
Yeah, it was, I said on the preview for this weekend's matches, too many changes for me. 10 is a lot, maybe a sign of arrogance. I would also say that if you're thinking about the World Cup, it's too late now. Those players that Gatlin was thinking of giving a run out should have played against Argentina in the summer, or should have played against Tonga or South Africa.
A lot of them did,
or the others in the autumns. Lots of them did, but a lot that came in on against Italy, that's an opportunity for them to put their hands up and say, I should be going to the World Cup, or you should pick me against England, or later in the tournament. I don't think any one of them did that. I don't think anyone particularly stood out, except for maybe Josh Adams again, who I thought had a decent game.
Yeah, I think he's looking somewhat nailed on for that left wing role, because I think he's looking a very good player. I was impressed with him. I also thought that Owen Watkin did pretty well coming in at 12, and I thought your back row were mostly pretty good as well. I think Aaron Wainwright is again staking a claim for the 6th shirt at the minute. So I think I was actually impressed with his performance. But on the whole, I was surprised just how much he kicked the ball. Like, even with Bigger at 10, he just kicked the ball away so much, and it was like, it seemed like a really bad balance you had at halfback, because Alan Davis he's like a quick and nifty 9, and then you've got Bigger who just stands so far back and he's just kicking it a lot, and it's like a really bad balance there in terms of how you're trying to play. Because I know Bigger, he's not quite like Anscombe where he steps up to the line, but he is capable of at least releasing the backs when he's got a platform. But you just kick the ball away so much, which is I thought not a great tactic, especially against Italy, where we thought if we keep the ball long enough, then they're either A, going to give away penalties, or B, you're going to wear them down and then find a gap somewhere and get through them. So yeah, it's just really strange tactics how much kicking Wales did, I think.
Yeah, and I thought one of the strange things was that we seemed too comfortable. I think we were 12-0 up at one point, and I thought, right, we need to try now. We need to try to get a try, maybe get another penalty before half-time and close the game off. Second half, we can come out and blow them away. It just seemed like we weren't that bothered about trying to get a try. We'd go 3 or 4 phases and lose the ball, or we'd try a stupid pass, or Big, as you said, would kick. If we'd have stuck and gone through the phases, as you guys showed against Italy last week, you get tries. Italy are not that good a side. And to be honest, I think, you could say that Italy played well, but I don't particularly think that they played that well. And Wales, we weren't anything special either. So, for Italy to get those tries that they did, I think it's quite embarrassing for us. But my big issue
I think Sean Edwards will be fuming at the second one. The first one I actually will give credit to Italy for that, because they did build up through the phases and eventually Stain got over the line. But yeah, that second one, I think Anscombe was been in for a bit of a rollicking for how he just shot out the line as he did. So yeah,
he's done that quite a lot recently. He did it against South Africa, I think it was. Just shot out the line for one of their points. I can't remember for what it was, but he has a tendency to do that. Gets overexcited and steps out. And against England, I don't think you just can't afford that, because Manu will love that, you know.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you're stepping out like that, you have to be, assured that the ball is going to come to your man and that you're going to absolutely flatten him, or you're sealing off the options of going wide. And he did neither. He just shot right up and left a big open space and a dogleg defense for Allen to run into and put the winger away. So. Yeah, that was...
his eyes must have opened very wide. He'd be like, where's all this space come from? But yeah, I think those 10 changes, how do we carry that momentum of... To be honest, we've only played maybe 30 minutes of decent rugby in this whole tournament so far. And you look at the quality of where England is at the minute. Yeah. If this game was at Twickenham, we wouldn't stand a chance. If it was at Twickenham, we don't stand a chance.
No, I agree with that.
And I'd say England are on for the Grand Slam. Because it's in Cardiff, there's a little bit more of a chance, but I am nervous. And there is no momentum going from we didn't just about beat Italy. I don't think the result was ever in question against Italy, but how do you go from a 5.5 out of 10 maybe performance against Italy to playing against the informed team in the competition now who just blew away France and smashed Ireland out in Dublin? There is no momentum. But yeah, fair play to Italy. They did some things well. But again, one of the big things that surprised me was our line-outs. We only won 4 out of 7 of our line-outs. And that's the second week on the bounce. And it's not the same hooker. And I think it's because Alan Wynne wasn't playing. I think...
Well, that's the thing. He was playing. Alan Wynne was playing against France, though, and you had the same stats there at the line-out. So I think... I don't know. It's a I don't know if it's a team thing or, sort of just... not communicating correctly or lack of that. It's probably a combination of everything really that's been the problem, like lack of accuracy and throwing, like lack of communication, etc. So something you definitely need to improve on if you're wanting to beat England. I do fully expect you will be a lot better against England. Because you can't play that badly again, and I think in Cardiff as well that'll definitely help you. But yeah, you have to make sure that you're getting the set pieces right, and you're not giving away anything cheap, and that you're, like I say, you're actually getting the accuracy right, which and the team as well, I expect it to be more along the lines of the team that played against France. But again, that I think confidence is a big thing. Like from the first 2 games, they'll be confident with winning, because winning becomes a habit even if you're not playing necessarily well, and you guys are definitely in the winning habit just now, so that is also an advantage. But in terms of actual performance confidence, how are you going to be, especially with the standard you're no doubt going to be up against England? And
I think there's some big decisions to make with the starting team. Some changes I might look at making, obviously just taken from the France team now, who will play against France. Of course, the guys who play against Italy, hardly of them will play against England. But we have got to be so much better. And as you said, I do think we will be. But yeah, who starts at 10 is going to be interesting for that one. I'm very unsure about who I personally would pick. I'm leaning towards Anscombe, just about. But it's going to be one of them games where it's going to be extremely physical. 2 very physical sides going at each other. But yeah, that performance against Italy. I was looking on loads of Facebook forums and stuff, and everyone's like, "Oh, we were crap. We were awful. We were just rubbish." I was like, "Yeah, we didn't play great, but we still won. It's 11 games on the bounce that we've won now. We're won 2 out of our 2 games of the Six Nations. The Grand Slam is still on, or the Championship is still on. We have England at home. If we were facing England away, it would be a very different story. Then we face Scotland away, which is a winnable game. And then we host Ireland. And Ireland on high on confidence at the minute. And we've blooded some young players. And as you said, I think Aaron Wainwright, he has been fantastic for us for the last 6-8 months or so. And, if I had a choice between him and Lydiot for that number 6 jersey, I'd happily give it to Wainwright at the minute. Really? I think he's been brilliant. I think he has been so good for us, and for such a young guy, he is captain material, in a few years' time. And I wouldn't be surprised if he left the Dragons for the Scarlets or the Ospreys in the next few years either, because nothing good happens in the Dragons usually, to be honest.
Just follow Faletau to Bath, mate. That'll sort him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I agree with that. I would of the players that came in, actually, I would stick with Wainwright at 6 instead of Navidi. I'd put Navidi on the bench, and obviously put Tipuric and Moriarty in the back row as well. And I'd stick with Owen Watkin at 12 over Hadley Park, because Hadley Park hasn't impressed me in the past few games I've seen him. So I think and Watkins looked decent when he got chances, and he scored a try against Italy. So I think I don't see why. Well, I don't want to see the harm in it, because then he plays against England and makes a big mistake, and England win because of it. But I'd say yeah, give him another shot. I think he's shown he deserves it. So that's what I would go. That was the only changes from I would go for. The rest I think would be pretty much the same as it was against France, like I said. So, and maybe Gareth. I think Gareth Davis will start at 9 as well. But we'll see.
Yeah, definitely.
And with regards to Italy, though, I think they can be take some positives in that they show they can stick with a good team for 80 minutes, even if the good team didn't have a great game. Like Italy showed that they could stick with them for 80 minutes and give them and cause them some problems. So I think they'll definitely take comfort in that. But again, I'm expecting a long championship for them. They might have a chance in the last game against France, but it's going to be really, really tough in a couple of weeks. I think Ireland, even though they didn't play brilliantly against us, are still a wounded animal, and I think they're going to build and take Italy as a stepping stone to build more confidence and get a higher level. And I think it will be fairly comfortable for Ireland in a couple of weeks, I'll be honest. So, but no, just good.
Well, one thing about Italy I think we have to talk about, though, is in the last 2 years, how much have they really improved?
Well,
I don't think they've improved that much.
Well, it's been for a long time.
I generally don't. And I think that one player who's come through which looks decent is Minozzi, the fullback, who has been out injured this tournament. Last tournament, he had an incredible tournament. He's been great for, I think it's Treviso. He's been great for this season. But let's be realistic. It was a Wales team with 10 changes. We didn't play well, and we still won quite comfortably. So for Italy, as you said, I think it's been a long tournament. They face France away, I think.
No, they're France at home. They've got France.
Oh, is it France at home? Oh, it's a completely different prospect then. So yeah, it'd be lovely for Parise to get a win at the end of the tournament, but yeah, against Ireland, it's going to be tough for them for sure.
Yeah, but like I say, I think I do actually think Conor O'Shea has improved them in the past couple of years, but it's what he's working with and the resources he has to available to him, and how much money Italy have compared to all the other nations. He's basically almost working with one hand tied behind his back, and he's got a pretty limited group of players on the whole. So I think for what he has, he's not doing that badly. It's just the level they're at is they've still got an awfully long way to go if they're wanting to be seriously competitive at the top level. So yeah, but I mean, like I said, I think they might have a chance against France in the last game if France play as poorly as they did today. But who knows? We'll see what happens there. But that's for another time. Okay, so we're going to move on to England, France now. Obviously, England looking pretty awesome. One may say they were absolutely ruthless. Their kicking, their defense was immense. Their kicking game was excellent. Johnny May, not possibly, is the wing of the championship right now. He's playing so well, scoring great tries. France, on the other hand, extremely poor, rudderless as a team of individuals, but collectively they're just not there at all. I mean, a few decent individual efforts, but on the whole, as a team, they're just looked so directionless and so void of leadership, and just so doesn't look like they know where they're going or what they want to do. And England just absolutely exposed them. I mean, but that's the thing. I didn't think France were that much I think, well, they were worse than they were against Wales, but I didn't think they were all that much worse. I think England more actually saw their flaws and exploited them, and I think and their kicking game was excellent for that as well, as I mentioned. So I think England just really good overall. What do you think?
Yeah, a combination of both. First of all, France were poor, England were brilliant. The kicking game was fantastic. I think a start for you, England 44 times they kicked the ball out of hand in the match. 35 of those times, stayed in field, so they were tactical kicks. And what's the French fullback called? Huget, is it?
Huget, yeah.
He thought he was playing wing at some point and wasn't staying back, defending. He would come up to the defensive line and there'd be a massive gap behind him, and Farrell had a field day just kicking over the top. Daly had a field day kicking over the top. France, they just seem to not really know what they're doing. They just get the ball. They showed some instances where they would break the first line of defence, they'd give a lovely offload, they'd be in, and then they'd be like, I don't know what to do now. It'd be like they'd suddenly freeze and not know what to do, and they would drop it or knock it on. But they're just a group of individuals. It's really sad to see, because I remember France where they were challenging for the Six Nations every year, but now they're just being French, aren't they?
I don't know if being French, they're just not look like they're just drop level. They're not looking good at all right now. But yeah, I did think that winger Pinot looks a very good player. But the thing is, because he was pushing up so high, that was part of the reason they were spacing behind as well. But the thing is, wingers mostly these days, they are the defensive wingers. They mostly are very high up in the line to push up out of defence. So yeah, I agree with you that Uge has to take some responsibility for not covering his winger, or the sweeping scrum half. Para as well, I think, should take a role for not covering his winger. Because if the winger's pushing up too high and then there's space in behind to kick it, there should be at least cover from a full back or a sweeping scrum half. And there was neither. Pinot was mostly just left to try and do it himself, and poor bugger, May creamed him basically. Yeah. So, but I think
I thought Para also had a really poor game, Morgan Para. And I thought when Dupont came on, I thought he did something good. He actually ran at the defence. He tried to speed up the ball a bit. And once France did that, that's when they started to break through the defence a little bit and get those offloads.
Again though, it's I agree with you about Dupont, but it's individual stuff again, because he was just individually trying to do it. I would say he was trying to do it himself, but his teammates weren't in tune with what he was doing, or how he was trying to play most of the time. They were just, at times he would make a break and they'd either stand back, or he'd make a break and like Ntamak, he'd run either the wrong support line, or to be fair, I think that was kind of more Dupé putting a bad kick in, but the support line Ntamak ran for him wasn't the support line that he actually needed to create a try. But again, just individuals. They're just playing as individuals. They're not playing together as a team, and that's where I'd have some confidence. I have some confidence for a couple of weeks' time. And England, on the other hand, they just stepped up again. I think John Mitchell coming in as their defence coach has really made a massive difference to them. And defensively, they're looking a lot more assured than they were last year. They're not giving much away at all. And they're just looking like a real force, and I think they'd be favourites for the Grand Slam. I'm still not sure if they will get it. We'll see if they beat Wales in a couple of weeks, I'll say they'll get the Grand Slam probably. But
I hate to say it, but if they do beat us, they will win it. Back to France though, one little thing. The thing about France that seems to happen, and I listened to an interview with Philippe Saint-André, the ex-coach of the national team, and he said the big issue for France at the minute is their domestic league. That he recently went to see the Champions Cup final, which happened a few years ago between Toulon and Clermont. I think that was about 4 years ago now, and he was coach of France at the time, and France were playing really poorly, and someone asked him, why are you playing so poorly with two of your sides in Europe's final of the best teams? And he said, I can only pick 8 of these players to play for the national side, because everyone else is from South Africa, from Australia. There's English people here, there's Irish people over here, and that seems to be the issue, that they've got all these foreign players in, and the young players, such as finally players like Dupont is now playing, but it seems like that's stunted their growth. And I don't think that the style of top 14 suits international rugby. I think that you have to be extremely fit for international rugby. You know, you can't just be big and powerful. You have to have that level of fitness, which I don't think France have. And yeah, I just think it's really sad, to be honest.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know about, like, I wouldn't say it's the top 14 per se, because I think even with the foreigners there, they do produce a lot of players, France. So they have plenty. They have plenty to pick from. I'd say it's like more like the grassroots, the priorities after the past few years. I mean, Brian Moore even said that, you know, he's spoken to French mini rugby academies, or French academies, or mini rugby places in France, and they said that even at that level they're prioritising size and power above anything else. And but the thing is, with the top 14 in the past, though, like, you know, French leagues have mostly been about you know, physicality and a lot of kicking, but it's not always affected the national team. Like in the past, like the national team would always, you know, play with like flair and sort of could switch it on when they want to, and they could also switch it off when they want to as well. But you know, they still produced like enough talent. I think there is still talent in that French side. They just seem to be like all over the place in terms of they're not a team. And I think I do think the schedule, more so than the foreigners there, that is a bigger problem. Like I think a lot of them are expected to play like something like over 40 games a season or something like that, which is absolutely ludicrous. So I think that needs looked at over there. I think their priorities in terms of how they want their players to be, they need to, you know, stop putting size and power above anything else. It needs to be like, you know, because rugby is a skill game, you know, and it's a technique game. It is, you know, power in some areas, like if you're carrying, etc., or making making huge tackles, it does help. But you know, it's still the skills, the techniques. They're the priorities. What you need, like not being like big fat lump, because there's no point being a big fat lump if you can't like maintain the ball after you've been tackled, or you know you can't, or if you like make a tackle that isn't a tackle really if you can't tackle properly. So yeah.
Yeah, this is a process that we've been going through for Wales. You know, we used to have this Warren ball where we'd have Jamie Roberts coming down the 10 channel and trying to get over the gain line by their fly half, and then we'd go through the phases and just power way over.
Sorry to interrupt, man. That's a bit different. That's a bit different though, is because Wales actually do have players with technique. They have players who know how to, you know, even if they were just charging forward and going direct a lot of the time, they still had like the basic skills of like, you know, getting the tackle, going into the tackles low, getting the ball back, and making sure that, you know, you're steady, getting enough players to the ruck to be efficient with the ball. Whereas this French side, they just for a few years now, they've just been all like big beast lumps and apart from in the scrum, technique wise, they've been a mixed bag at best. So I mean, there were times like today even, they were just like individuals just running and charging up, and they were going either too high into the tackles and were knocking it on, or they're just like not getting the right support lines, and it was just, you know, all over the place.
Yeah, but we have to credit England. England were brilliant today, and Farrell dictated the whole game. I thought Billy Vunipola was a little bit quieter than usual, but he did some other things that were necessary. I thought Wilson had a good game as well, physical. I just thought it was very comfortable for England, and I think we will provide a sterner test for them.
You will.
Yeah. Well, I hope we will. I really.
I am confident that Wales will give England a proper test match. Whether that'll be enough to overturn them, I'm not sure, but I'm confident it will be a proper test match in a couple of weeks' time, and I'm actually looking forward to it. Just hope I'm in a happyish mood going into it after the Scotland-France game. But it will be a very fascinating game regardless. So
and there were the war of the words has started. Eddie Jones has called us the best ever Welsh side. We'll see what happens in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens in the next 2 weeks for that.
Yeah, I don't pay much attention to what
Yeah.
Eddie Jones says anymore. He's just he does what he does. He just like uses the press to put the attention onto himself and to get people talking. But it's just him playing his mind games. Really, I'm not really bothered by it personally. So just like I said, it's just about the game for me. And that's just talking from my own perspective. What did you think of? We'll talk about a couple of the talking points. One, the Chris Ashton penalty try. What did you think about that?
Penalty try. Well, I wouldn't say definite because I wasn't 100% sure if Ashton would have actually been able to control it because he seemed to be bouncing a bit towards his left and he wasn't running in that direction as such. But I think you have to give the benefit of the doubt to the attacking team, which Nigel Owens had seemed to be doing throughout the match. So I think it was a penalty try, and if it's a penalty try, he's got to go to the bin. He's taken one for the team, Fiku there.
Well, he's not really taking one for the team if he's getting yellow cut, if he's giving the penalty try away.
I think that penalty try for me. What about you? What do you think?
I'm not sure. I didn't think it was I thought it was a yellow card and a penalty because he tackled him off the ball, but Ntamack was quite close to Ashton, and it was and the ball was going away from Ashton a bit on the ground when Fiku tackled him. So I would have said that again. I think it was just a penalty and a yellow card because I don't think it was absolute guarantee Ashton was going to get to the ball, and I don't think it was guarantee. I think there was also a chance of Ntamack getting back and catching him. So I thought it was just a penalty.
It was close. It was very, very close. Very close.
Yeah, but
another ref could have said, no penalty try, just a penalty. But for me, I would have backed Ashton to collect it and to score. But it was a close one for sure. But I don't think it affected the result at all. No. I think England would have won that quite comfortably. And then the Farrell try. Really close.
I was dubious about that because Johnny May held back Dupont's arm as he was going for the ball, and that wasn't spot. I don't know why the TMO didn't pull Nige up about that because I thought that was illegal. So I'm not sure that try should have been given. I don't think because it is illegal to pull someone's arms. I mean, you see players subtly do it all the time around breakdowns where they're just either at the side of a ruck and they're out of the game, but they're still tugging on someone's leg, or they're just if a kick goes up, they're just subtly blocking them, but trying to make it look like I'm not in the way, but they are. It is illegal, but still it's illegal. You're taking a guy off the ball, regardless, it's illegal. But so. And
I think Kyle Sinclair was a lucky man to be on the pitch.
I was going to get onto that.
Very lucky man. Yeah, I think he's very lucky to be on. I think Nigel Owens has been really lenient there. Because it's not a tap on the head, it's a proper slap on the head. And there were punches thrown in the mix of players as well, which I saw. But I think he was very lucky to be on the pitch. I think he talked his way out of it quite well, to be honest. I think he's very lucky. What do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I didn't see any punches thrown about, but something like that, it's no place in rugby, and I think he should have been binned for it, absolutely. So I think Nige was a bit too lenient with him there, but it's no place for it, and I think he should have gone to the bin for it. It was just dumb play, and we don't really need it in rugby, but. Nige was a bit too lenient. I think we can both agree there. But that's all I really can say about that. Just there was one or two other little things as well, but happening games. On the whole, England definitely the much better team and deserved to win. But I think we'll do another one next week. Looking forward to the games, go into more depth, looking into the games in a couple of weeks' time. But how do you think they're going to go? We'll just briefly discuss it just now.
Scotland, France. That's the first one up. very interesting game. Scotland will go there with confidence, but as we said before, France at home, you never know with France. It's a cliche in rugby now, but it's true. You just never know. Based on today's performance, I would back Scotland to go over there and win. But again, you just never know with France. But for France, I would start the likes of Dupont. I'd like to see him given a go. And maybe give Ntamak another chance, give him another go. But yeah, it would be interesting that one. But I would back Scotland. Then Wales, England. At the moment, I hate to say it, but I think England would win at the minute. It just depends on team selection. Being Cardiff, you never know. A 30-3 again would be nice.
Not happening, man. Not happening, man.
Yeah. And then Ireland, Italy. Well, I can only see Ireland getting a bonus point from that, to be honest. Yeah. Italy will hold their own for 40, 50 minutes maybe, but then it'll be a sea of green just taking over and smashing Italy out of the water. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I think I not so much for yesterday, as much as more how badly France played today. I think we should be going there with a lot more confidence, and we also, I think, should we'll definitely look a lot better collectively as a team than France do right now. So that, I think, could play to our advantage. The biggest concern I would have going over there is how big their pack is, and whereas we've got a more athletic pack, bar one or two players, and we don't have like real massive beasts that France do. So that's my main concern going over there. But apart from that, if we cut out the simple errors, don't give them anything cheap, and we play our game, make sure we're getting the balance better as well, make sure that we've got a platform for our back line before we try and spread it, because I think we're still guilty of that sometimes, where we try and spread it before we've got the platform, if that makes sense. But hopefully we get the platform first and then spread it wide. I think we should be okay there. But that's my biggest concern is France's monster pack and the fact we haven't won in Paris for 20 years. So yeah, I hope we can break that duck, and I'm confident we can do. But I don't think it'll be. I think it will be a tightish game. I think we should win, but I don't think it will be a big score. And Wales, England. I have to say England. I think it will be a close-ish game. I think you'll get a losing bonus point, but England, I think, will just get it. I think. I don't think you have to worry about it being a rout, because I'm very confident Wales will step up, and they'll know they'll have to step up, and being on a winning run just now as well, that will definitely help give you confidence, as winning becomes as much as a habit as losing can be. And the other game, I think we're on the same page there, expecting Ireland to win comfortably. Although I don't know about, I think Italy might, stick in them for little bits throughout the 80 minutes, but overall, expect Ireland to just be too much for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for you guys as well, that pack could be a big issue, but, France's fitness, we saw it today, and if you can keep it fairly close, if you're still in it with 60 minutes to go, then hopefully it'll open up for some of your backs. Hopefully Stuart Hogg will be fit for that game. We don't know the extent of the injury.
Yeah, it looks like it's groin, but hopefully it's nothing too serious, because having him back would be good. And I would put Blair Kinghorn on the wing over Tommy Seymour again, but but we can talk more about that in a couple of weeks. Really, I just, like I said, with if that's my, as I said, my main worry is how big France's pack is. But it's rugby's a game that we can play a million ways, and the brain can sometimes if we're smart enough up front, we can definitely take their big lumps out of the equation. But we'll see what happens. Anything else we'll talk about just now?
No, I think that's it. I think it's been a great weekend of rugby, and on to the next one. Sad about the break next week, but it has to happen, I guess.
Yeah. I give us a bit of a week off as well. I'm back refereeing next Saturday, so I've got to get myself trained up for that. But anyway, that's I think that'll do us. We'll close that out there. Thanks for listening, all. Nice to have you on again as always, Brandon. And this will go in your channel as well, no doubt. So hopefully it gets a good response there. And we'll catch you later.